Welcome back to day 2 of the QPL World Championship. QuakeCon continues, and so does the coverage here of your favorite Quake players, Quake action, welcoming Ketchup and Flea to the desk today. Gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon. Sorry, it's still a little bit early. I'm still making my way through this cup of coffee. Ketchup, I know you're enjoying some good coffee. I know you're ready to go. Flea, you're always ready to go. Thank you for all the awesome facts that you were dropping yesterday in the channel. We appreciate that. The human Quakepedia. Gentlemen, we've got another great matchup. It's k1llsen versus whaz, and let's just jump right in and start talking about it, right? I mean, k1llsen, this will be the first game I think that we see from him in the stage finals. It's been looking real good over stage 3, despite some of the issues that he was dealing with his eyes and whatnot. We've kind of gotten a chance to see the k1llsen that we know and love, and here he is going up against an opponent, whaz, who's going to be new to the tournament. But I want to hear from you. Flea, I'll start with you. k1llsen.
I mean, k1llsen, you said it yourself, right? He had a disappointing showing in the previous stage finals, no dots, in part due to his health condition back then, but he has been looking in absolutely killer form ever since then. Currently ranked 1 on the European side of the leaderboards. The man only lost a single match in the entire stage. You can see it right there, versus Wenger in the second week. Other than that, he cleaned out every single one of his opponents. Now, let's not forget, other than Rafa, no one has gotten more belts than k1llsen. He has gotten to write his name on that beautiful belt twice already, and I know that he is hungry to add his name onto it one more time.
And I feel like at the same time, k1llsen surely has to be going into this stage more motivated than ever. And I think that is reflected heavily in his practice, the amount of scrims he's doing. You look at players that have been kind of streaming their practice games on the lead up to QuakeCon. It almost feels like k1llsen's been there every day. You go on the Twitch and there's just that little k1llsen icon that's like, okay, I know what he's doing. Which, look, he's taking it seriously. He wants to get that absolute top of the pyramid result again. He knows he has what it takes. This could by all means be his tournament. But then at the same time, we talk about the dynamic of this matchup. I think that k1llsen, there was certainly a point where some players, like Xenoku, for instance, a few stages ago, take him by surprise. I think it's definitely fair to say. And there is a small possibility that that could happen again, because now we have whaz, who has made his way into the round of 16. This is not his first time this weekend playing, but how much experience do they have against each other? That is the question that we ask here, because whaz is no stranger to Pro League, but at the same time, I think there's an element of maybe unpredictability here. Who knows?
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. It's not that k1llsen doesn't have the skill set to, I almost said kill set, skill set to overcome and adjust, but there still is an element of kind of surprise, of familiarity. So I certainly feel like that is a factor in all this. Fleet, what do you think? whaz certainly came, not a stranger to the QPL or Quake champions, and put on a good performance yesterday.
He absolutely did, taking down Effortless in a nail-biter of a match. It was a marathon going all the way to the 5th and final map, so he beat his opponent 3-2. Now, of course, like you said, whaz is no stranger to the Quake Pro League. He actually started in the QPL, but then lost his position to Sib way back in the second stage of the first season. Now, if we go back even further, we find the only time that whaz and k1llsen played each other in the Pro League, and that was actually at the kickoff QuakeCon 2019, and it was k1llsen who took it home with a 2-0 victory back then.
Wow, even able to pull out the stats from that far. I love it. And so this also is kind of the initiation, the second initiation for whaz in a way. k1llsen, certainly an interesting monster to have to go up against right away. And I do also want to note, this is kind of the start of k1llsen's journey for the stage 3 finals. If he wins this one, he's immediately going to be going up against Razy. And then if he wins that one, the winner of that is going to go up against the winner of Zanaku versus Cypher. So certainly this is where the upper bracket absolutely heats up, but k1llsen needs to get past this one first. And with that being said, you talked about some of the elements of adapting to whaz, and obviously maps and champions going to play a big part into that as well, Ketchup. So let's take a look at our picks and bans and see what we've got going on here, as it looks like we're going to have Corrupted Keep as our first map. Then we're going on to Deep Embrace. I like this already. And then Molten Falls to finish us off.
And a common combination that we're starting to see in this later part of the stage. The Molten Falls is that final pick, the Slash getting picked again, and it's just becoming such a match made in heaven. Probably one of the only maps you'll see the champion picked right now, especially because things like Blood Covenant, for example, are not part of the pool, right? But Corrupted Keep, that nice and aggressive. Noticing immediately BJ was removed fresh off the bat. Deep Embrace after that, where it's going to be no Scale Bearer, Doomslayer versus Sorlag, and then Molten Falls Ranger and Slash as the final pick. Again, it's one of those cases where nothing really stands out to me as unusual, but I feel like there's just a lot of understanding here. And k1llsen's a player that, of all the players in this bracket this weekend, I'm looking at him almost the most, because you talked about the likeliness of, going up to fight Razy and then going up to fight the winner of Zeniku versus Cypher, all this stuff. These are all opponents that I strongly think k1llsen can take out if he's playing his absolute A game, and this could be a tournament winning bracket for him. But we need to see that form now. He needs to have a really good start to get himself in gear for the following matches.
Not that much to add to what Ketchup already said. Pretty standard picks indeed. I think the only thing that kind of stands out is the Sorlag on Deep Embrace.
Yeah.
Not a pick that you see all that often on that map. Scale Bearer, Keel tend to be far more common, which is of course why whaz banned the Scale for this matchup. But yeah, this is pretty standard. We're getting the Strog on Corrupted Keep, taking good advantage of the lack of the Railgun, but Galena also extremely powerful. Deep Embrace works nicely for Doomslayer. We've seen it several times already, right? That little jump up to heavy. We've seen players lose frags, can control the lead just because they messed up that jump once. With Doomslayer, that's just something you don't even need to worry about. And then finally, Molten Falls, like Ketchup Slash coming out to play. That really is her playground versus Ranger, also pretty standard pick there.
Yeah, I want to echo what you said about the Sorlag on Deep Embrace, and I'm going to be watching closely. Most players are prioritizing various movement mechanics on this, and Sorlag haven't really seen all that much, but does make sense that maybe the air control will be quite good on that map. So I'd like to see something new. I think that is kind of new on Deep Embrace. We'll see, but I'm going to hand it over to you all then. k1llsen versus whaz coming up next. Your hosts will be Ketchup and Flea, so I'll see you all on the other side. Take care. Have fun.
Thank you very much. Now, when we're talking about Deep Embrace too, like if I was against k1llsen and you're going on Deep Embrace, you know that he's going to have that kind of spawn manipulation on lock, right? He's going to be so good at just forcing the issue. You're going to want to have a lot more stack than normal, because if you're going to eat these rails fresh off spawn, I think that extra little bit of padding goes a long way. So I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on that. But yeah, Corrupted Keep is going to be our first destination here with whaz and k1llsen. I feel like many of us will be in agreement here that k1llsen's the favorite going into this one. I do personally predict a 2-0. No disrespect to whaz. I just feel like k1llsen is going in to this weekend as one of the strongest players, period. And it will be an upset if he doesn't take the win here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an upset if whaz manages to take even a single map, and I'm pretty sure that Chad agrees as well. I'm looking at the predictions right now. 95% of all the people are favoring k1llsen rather. So this is definitely a matchup that seems to favor the German player from Big. But whaz, the Wazzle Dazzle, he can come with the surprises. We've seen it in the past. A very talented, mechanically gifted player. Let's see if he can put a dent in the monster that is k1llsen.
Well, it looks like our warm-up is just about to come to a close here, and we know Corrupted Keep and how fast and furious that can be. We get to see how devastating k1llsen can be this early on in tournament. whaz, is he going to be able to handle what k1llsen brings to the table, as he will be taking that heavy side spawn, already pushing forward with some rocket damage. A totem being dropped down to start off as well. There's so many lights around the map. Getting that totem out nice and early. You're going to take damage. You're going to pick stuff up. Guess what? It gives your totems back faster thanks to the passive. Let's go.
Indeed, quick use of the peeker there as well. Of course, no railgun, no super shotgun in the hands of k1llsen, making it so that he can't do anything to immediately take down that little robot. That gives whaz a fair bit of damage, but just not enough to really make any sort of move with. And that positioning by whaz almost cost him the Mega. It might still be disastrous for him. Looks like he will just about escape. But that was so close to begin with. whaz was just lingering around over on the rockets too long, and in doing so actually allowed k1llsen to cut straight through the middle of the map, almost getting on the map. You very rarely see on the map that is corrupted.
Wow.
Usually it takes a very almost cost him the Mega. It might still be disastrous for him. Looks like he will just about escape. But that was so close to begin with. whaz was just lingering around over on the rockets too long, and in doing so actually allowed k1llsen to cut straight through the middle of the map, almost getting on the Mega first. And that's something you very rarely see on the map that is corrupted.
Wow.
Usually it takes a very long time for either player to establish full control, but it looks like k1llsen is going to succeed at doing that just a minute in.
And just the readiness for whaz peeking around that corner on that first frag. He knew he was going to be there 5 seconds ago, but here comes some high rocket damage from whaz from above, opening things up with 100. Definitely worse ways to start a fight. And whaz pressing the issue, but those defensive rockets from k1llsen hurt so much. Man needs to get a hold of some armor and fast, because k1llsen's going to delete the way things are currently going as he's in position for heavy, picks it up, and from this position, whaz, he's not going to be able to push forward and take this Mega either. It almost feels like there's an element of timidness here.
Loving the use of the totem there as well. k1llsen throwing down the totem kind of makes it so that whaz has to destroy it first, and in doing so he times the rockets just right that he jumps in between them and guarantees himself the item. And now whaz is in trouble, has no armor to work with. That heavy machine gun is going to shred the little stag that he has, but that's a good peeker. That hurts a lot. k1llsen cannot push ahead through that choke point. It's just too dangerous. Doesn't want to risk giving up that early lead that he has. And so instead, he's just going to stick to the top side of the map and make his way over to the heavy instantly.
Now, the Peeker was the first opening for whaz, not only keeping himself alive, but dishing out enough damage to force k1llsen to retreat. But I feel like those kind of opportunities aren't going to come often. And just like that, k1llsen, he was able to take the heavy, get away without taking any damage. whaz was a little bit late being able to cycle around there with the rockets. And then the Mega was a free pickup for another time. k1llsen has had free reign over this entire map, and he's just about to get yet another totem on deck. And that's becoming a bit of a problem here for whaz. whaz is trying to keep himself out of sight, out of mind almost, but the reality is he's never in a position to get too much damage out there. The second he sees k1llsen, k1llsen's already gone.
k1llsen has also done an excellent job, Ketchup, at introducing a delay between the items, very deliberately waiting with picking up the Mega on the previous cycle. So now there's 10 seconds between them both, but hang on, whaz! Those were some sick rockets. k1llsen perhaps a little too careless in going up the bounce pad, exposing himself to a lot of free damage for the American, and whaz manages to at least force out a trade, but he is not in the good position to slip in and take away the control that k1llsen has established.
Oh, that was an expensive spawn for whaz, though, opting to go for the LG first, and in doing so means that k1llsen not only is able to take heavy, he cycles round, gets the frag, and takes Mega as well. We lost full map control for one weapon, and he tries to get a super shotgun. k1llsen faster on the trigger finger. And now 4-1. As we're almost halfway through Corrupted Keep already. Man, you blink and miss this map sometimes. It goes by so quickly. And for yet another time, folks, shock horror, k1llsen takes full rotation of the items and keeps the delay strong as he soaks up another frag here, 5-1.
Oh, no.
Oh, and he gets a good catch on the spawn. whaz, how do you survive this one, mate? I guess the answer is you don't.
This is a crucial point in the map for whaz. This is the time where k1llsen is trying to build up the momentum. He's got a rotation going. First heavy, a few seconds later he moves into Mega and constantly applies pressure. whaz has to stop the bleeding now, because if he doesn't, then k1llsen is going to start that bulldozer and is going to just absolutely flatten him. Good move from whaz there. At least manages to deny the Mega. Takes some damage for his trouble, but nothing too bad. Actually, very aggressive, making good use of that strong movement. But k1llsen has those 2 health bubbles to fall back on, as well as a totem. And whaz ends up overextending, putting himself in an unfavorable position and dropping yet another frag. He won't be able to get onto heavy on time either. So k1llsen is still looking decently healthy after that engagement.
Almost none of the major pickups on this map have been, I think, significantly challenged. You kind of look at a lot of these heavies and megas, and k1llsen is there on his own. He just picks it up, pushes in, and just like that, whaz, he's never able to contest. If there is any fight, he's outstacked. And unfortunately, it looks like that's just going to continue. This delay that's been put between these 2 items, Flea, you know, you pointed it out very early on. We're 5.5 minutes in, and that delay is looking to be exactly the same. whaz has not been able to change an ounce of this game plan so far, and that Pico was not the one. A free pickup for k1llsen again, and yet another item taken with no punishment whatsoever.
49% accuracy with the lightning gun for k1llsen. Man's hitting like a truck, already doing over 1,000 points of damage with just the LG alone. whaz is just unable to keep up with the damage output. And that has given k1llsen so much control over the items. whaz has secured 1 heavy this entire matchup, whereas k1llsen is sitting at 11 already. Now that's a good play from whaz. He actually has a very serious stack right now, but doesn't have LG. That makes it difficult to take a fight from that position. He weapon. And it looks like k1llsen is just going to let him get out.
Just again, pushing himself around the corner. To be fair, we are reaching that position where there's 3 minutes left. You have to get 11 frags, and you haven't really got time to be patient anymore. But it does heavily seem to me, Flea, like nothing whaz has done here is nothing that k1llsen hasn't been prepared for, or maybe even, dare I say, seen 100 times over. I just think that this has been a very standard corrupted keep from him. He's been holding the angles. whaz has come around the corner. The LG's completely lit him up. Does manage to get a little bit of a surprise there, but at this point, there's no time to make a comeback. And k1llsen has done so much damage already that he's off to a fantastic start and will be winning this first map the way things are going.
Yeah, 10 frags of a deficit in 2.5 minutes. Not the situation that you want to be in when you're whaz, and it looks like whaz is finally going to secure a second heavy. That's 2 armors that he's managed to pick up in 7.5 minutes, and it's really just because k1llsen is allowing it. k1llsen knows that he's got such a significant lead that he can just stick to the minor items, play a defensive game just like that, holding down the choke points. He might drop down here, but even if he does, the damage that he's doing should slow whaz down enough to stop him from just steamrolling k1llsen from now on out.
Yeah, sloppy fight there from k1llsen, you know, trying to go for those directs, normally able to land it. That was absolutely fantastic, but I was going to say that even if he has a messy fight, who cares? We have 2 minutes left to go, and right now, any time you can drag out even a single frag is going to mean all the good things. whaz gets yet another frag, he's able to get himself a mega on hand. k1llsen still looking to make his presence known, and another 100 damage. His rocket damage this time has been unbelievable. 1.5 minutes left to go. Ooh.
Okay.
I've never seen that exchange before. Did he get telefragged by the Pika?
I'm sure he did, yeah. That's exactly what happened there. It is a possibility. It's not something you see every day, but this is, of course, the Quake World Championship.
I had to double take that so hard.
I think everyone did. Even whaz stopped and said LOL in chat, so clearly the players themselves are amused by what happened there. And as we are now entering the final minutes, whaz has managed to close the gap slightly, catch up from 10 frags behind to just 7, but it's still nowhere near enough, is it? 45 seconds left to go. I think we've entered the realm of mathematical impossibility, especially when k1llsen can just pick up the mega. Is going to probably secure the small armor here as well. whaz is out-positioned, is out-stacked, and just doesn't have the weaponry to make anything happen.
2-piece totem combo with fries, thank you. 14-6 now is going to be, well, almost our final scoreline for this first map, and the frags that whaz has obtained here kind of seems like it's because k1llsen has taken his foot off the gas. Those 2 armors that he was able to pick up and he's had more items now since then. It is very much because k1llsen allowed it to happen. He'd given himself such a lead, it was to somewhat start dragging things out a little bit. If we have to deal with any frags, that's okay, because now there's only a couple of minutes left to go. And it was, by all means, 10 minutes of k1llsen domination. And the second we started seeing extra frags was because he could afford to take them. Looking at the end game control, whaz did start to get a lot more megas by the end, but it was that severe lack of armor we're looking at. I can see 4 heavies for whaz versus 15 for k1llsen. You then factor in they're both mediums. k1llsen has those totems to drop down. That's a lot of chunky stack to work with in these fights, and then you just factor in k1llsen's phenomenal aim, and you have a dominant first map.
You have to keep in mind 3 out of those 4 heavies were essentially the result of k1llsen pulling the brakes in the final 2 minutes and saying, okay, I'm going to switch to a passive playstyle, you can control the items, and I will just burn the clock. So k1llsen's item supremacy was absolutely on point today. whaz couldn't keep up at all, neither in terms of damage output as well as control of the majors, and that has given k1llsen a very, very good start to his run in the Quake World Championships. Yeah, you could see the reaction there as well. k1llsen throwing his hands in the air in surprise at that telefrag with the peeker, but ultimately it amounted to little.
It was a great moment, to be fair. That was like the moment of the map. I had to seriously double take because I've never seen that encounter before. But I think everyone was in a similar boat. As now we're going into our next map here, which will be Deep Embrace. This is where it's going to be that Doomslayer versus the Sorlag. And again, we kind of talk about why these champions might have gone in. There's many reasons you would pick Sorlag on almost any map here. The mobility is great, the damage output at close range. This is a brawler's map. But at the same time, it comes down to just the pure mechanical skills of k1llsen. His aim is phenomenal, but if there is a map where you can heavily influence the opponent's spawn, I think it doesn't get more apparent than Deep Embrace. It's one of the reasons that it's not everyone's cup of tea, I think, because not everyone likes to get fragged and then immediately you kind of have to concede. If I don't maybe change my respawn timing, if I delay it maybe, I'm going to just eat this rail fresh off the bat. And I don't want to be that far behind. I've already conceded a frag, right? But there's definitely a skill to manipulating that. And at this level of play, most will. k1llsen especially, the Sorlag stack is going to help that, I think, momentum potentially get stopped a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. Corrupted Keep is definitely the most snowball-heavy map in the entire pool right now, so this could be a fresh breath of air for whaz as we are shaping up to jump into Deep Embrace. Now, just to remind everyone, it is going to be k1llsen running the Doomslayer, so he's got that powerful double jump, very useful in several areas of the map. Quickly can get up to the center area from LG, avoid that tricky little jump over towards Heavy. Plenty of utility you can get out of the Doomslayer versus whaz, who will be rocking Sorlag, so he's going to have the higher base stack and the air control to work with. Also, I'm in the lobby right now and k1llsen is rocking the championship belt, the in-game item, the belt on the Doomslayer, and that is quite the flex. That is just showing your opponent. Remember who you're dealing with right now. I've got 2 of these to my name already, so let's brawl.
Strong drip. You know what I mean? He's got nice kind of ruby red skin, which I'm biasedly a huge fan of as well. But as we now jump into this map, the good luck, have funs are coming out. We're about to load into this warm-up, and it's going to be Deep Embrace for what could be the final map between these two. whaz did not have a strong chance to even exist on Corrupted Keep, and it's like you pointed out, right? What happens on the Keep stays on the Keep. It's not the kind of map that can be comparable to anything else because nothing plays like it. But at the same time, Deep Embrace is a rather unique specimen in a different way. It is the ability to just keep the opponent on the end of a string, and this can also result in some of the more one-sided maps that we've ever dealt with. Sorlag, one of the big things about her, no pun intended, is that she's a large target. She's one of the easier champions to hit of everyone in the roster, and that combined with k1llsen's aim, and more prominently on this map, Rail, could be a bit of a disaster for whaz. But I'd love to see him really bring it and take us to a 1-1.
Now indeed, Corrupted Keep was k1llsen's pick, so this map is chosen by whaz as one of his favorites, one of his best maps in the pool, so let's see if he can turn the tides as we are starting off on k1llsen's point of view, immediately delaying the Mega quite significantly so. Oh, perhaps a bit too much.
Not just a delay, letting it go! Oh my lord!
whaz just absolutely rushing in, calling k1llsen's bluff, stealing away the mega health, and that is one stacked lizard that you have to deal with. No doubt k1llsen will drop a frag within the first half minute. That was a very good play by whaz.
No fear, and I love that confidence from whaz to just pile his way towards Mega. The moment he caught out that it hadn't been taken, we're going in, we're taking it, and then pushing instantly, catching k1llsen in a terrible situation. But no! Into the abyss with you! k1llsen gets himself his first frag of this map, and what was a phenomenal start for whaz, unfortunately, has fallen short a little bit, Flea.
Yeah, indeed. Very confident opening. I love the positioning from k1llsen right there. He knew ketchup.
Oh, so good. He knew he only had the rocket, right? So what are you going to do up there?
And also just to avoid the spit. He knew that there was almost no way that whaz would just blindly spit up there, right? Because that's such an uncommon position. So that's exactly why he held that angle, knowing that he could avoid almost all the damage coming his way while getting consistent output with the LG of his own. And now whaz finds himself in a bad position once more. The rockets will connect, and k1llsen off the spawn. That's the second time he's landing the spawn rail, and that basically negates the stack advantage that Sorlag has as a heavy champion.
I would certainly say first time of many, because no doubt k1llsen, I teased this before because you just know that k1llsen is going to manipulate as many of these spawns as he can. He's going to get another whaz. I mean, the only thing surely whaz can even try and do here is now maybe try and delay that spawn. Not necessarily to try and spawn somewhere else, because it doesn't fully work that way. It's just k1llsen's so ready with that rail every time. I don't even know if delaying it's going to help him.
Ketchup, the only spawn that whaz has not immediately taken 90 damage on was the first spawn at the beginning of the game, and the one that we just saw. But other than that, k1llsen has punished him, and again, and again. That was
almost
close.
Got sent off the map. That would have been a nice little bonus there for whaz, but k1llsen, for the first time, really is not in a position where he has to prioritize getting that spawn damage, but he can back out and take the mega. So, good lord, Flea. 2.5 minutes in, 8-1. Deep embrace things, I guess.
We were talking about how Corrupted Keep is the snowball map in the pool right now, but k1llsen is absolutely showing what he's capable of. Oh my god, if whaz had not been a heavy champion, he would have died instantly right there. That would have been a clean spawn frag.
Flea, this isn't even fair. Stop the match.
I do think that whaz needs to catch on to this rather quickly, because he spawns and he takes a step forward every single time, and k1llsen's always ready, like a few steps ahead. Maybe whaz needs to try and, you know, change it up a bit, delay the spawn slightly, go backwards or to the left right off the spawn instead of just walking forwards, because he's making it so easy for k1llsen to read his movements.
Even with the extra stack of Sorlag, it's doing very little to stop this. And whaz, again, will drop just a couple of seconds too early. At this point, k1llsen pushes forward before even taking the mega. You know, he wants to get that opening damage. The mega's going to make that divide even greater. Knows the heavy's likely to get picked up here, but he punishes it with a little bit of damage. At this stage, whaz, good lord, the mammoth amount of work he has to do in such a short space of time. k1llsen goes for Berserk just in case. Now, the Berserk is going to give whaz a breath of fresh air. You're stuck in this mode. There's nothing k1llsen can do to now pressure off spawn. Not going to stop him from hitting the rails, apparently. But a little bit of breathing room for whaz. Unfortunately for him, k1llsen maintaining this high ground and just holding these rail angles all day continues the dominance. There will be a free mega because of it, but is that even going to mean much here? Because he has only got an LG. And as long as these rails just continue to land, Ro16 proving his name right, and another pickup here will be clean.
Ketchup, we are looking at 78% railgun accuracy for k1llsen. 78. The man has hit 19 out of 25 shots so far, nearly doing more damage with the railgun alone than whaz has done with every single weapon combined. This is nasty.
There's been a major element at play here, watching this from k1llsen's point of view for pretty much the entire map, is that there's nowhere whaz is going that k1llsen is not totally prepared for. whaz is playing into the hands of k1llsen every single step of the way. The super shotgun into Berserk, a very Doom Slayer combo right there, but the Berserk for another time hasn't even been necessary. k1llsen goes for it just in case the shot is missed. But the reality is he's just double jumped the champion, as is often the way here with Doom Slayer. whaz, there's surely no way anything can happen here. The map was decided in almost the opening couple of minutes. Yeah. k1llsen maintaining the pain, and whaz drops down once again. More of that spawn damage, and it's spawning and pushing forward immediately. Again, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, Flea. There's very little you can do when your spawn is being manipulated like this, but there are a couple of small things, and it seems a little bit like whaz isn't even doing those. Maybe there's an element of autopilot, maybe accepting the fate, frustration perhaps. I'm not sure, but it feels like every time he spawns, that's it. k1llsen gets the damage, and there's nothing he can do about it.
This is, I think, the biggest slaughter we've seen in the championships just yet.
Yeah, you can say that again. Oh.
And even finding the rail right onto whaz's ankle. Ro16 absolutely reigning supreme right now. If this is the form that k1llsen is going to hold on to moving forward in the bracket catch-up, then everyone watching this is going to be scared. Like, this is terrifying. The prospect of having to go up against that, doesn't matter if you're Rafa, if you're Wenger, if you're Cypher, this is looking like one hell of an opponent.
Even little moments like that, where he's hitting all of the damage, and rather than kind of looking for a flick or a reaction or whatever, he was just holding his crosshair down where the drop down is, because he knew long before whaz did it that that's what whaz was going to do. It's just his game sense has been phenomenal this time round. Super shotgun into Berserk could have been the two-piece. whaz a bit further away than maybe he expected, but who cares? He was so weak. Even more of that opening damage, and whaz doing anything he can at this point, taking any item he can get your hands on. Oh, another prediction from k1llsen, just knowing he's dropping down. And he's going to look for the light health. There goes another one. Oh, environment blocking that super shotgun just a little bit, but is he going to get any more? Oh, misses the shot. But at this point, we're kind of just going through the paces, aren't we, Flea? This is decided. k1llsen will be winning this map in the most dominant map we've had all weekend.
whaz just needs to, not let this get to him too much. He only just made his way back into the Pro League. Clearly, he's a bit rusty. Of course, he prepared, he practiced, he did really well during Challengers, but the gap, rather, between Challengers and the QPL itself is still significant, and that is being put on full display. And k1llsen...
Oh my good God! What was that combo, k1llsen?
The rocket.
Oh, that's the bet. That's the frag of the weekend for
rail.
Me. Frag of the weekend.
Jesus. Don't even know what to say about that one. That was the foresight, the execution. k1llsen is a monster. And he's just proving it time and time again.
He's going to 30 bomb. He's going to do it. He has so much time to get the 3 remaining frags, and whaz, this has been an absolute beatdown.
I think this is just, the inaugural welcome party to the QPL. k1llsen's like, whaz, welcome back. Here's a dose of reality. Now, of course, whaz is just going to drop down into the lower bracket. He isn't out of the tournament by any means. And like I said earlier, he can't take this too badly. k1llsen in this shape, the way we've been watching him dominate Deep Embrace, I think there's very few players who would have been able to stand up to this to begin with. So whaz, it's got to reset, realize that whoever he's likely to face down in the lower bracket is not going to be this strong, and maybe take some comfort in that moving forward.
And there's the 30 bomb. k1llsen 30-3. On the verge of not even having that be the final map count. But what made this so one-sided? Yes, it was k1llsen playing out of his skin, having the aim that he is absolutely famous for. But at the same time, whaz, from an early point of this map, I think was a little bit predictable with where he was going on the map, where he was retreating to when he was weak. k1llsen was 1, 2, 3, 5 steps ahead the moment this map began. Yeah. And I'd like to look at the endgame stats. k1llsen was a little bit short of doing 3,000 damage with the railgun on that map. He did 2,969 in one map.
He did nearly 8,000 damage overall. I don't remember exactly what the highest damage was we saw in the previous stage final. I remember tweeting about it, but this might be a new record. I think it was around 6.8k was the highest we saw in the previous stage finals, and now k1llsen is already outdoing that significantly. The German player absolutely shaping up to be in tip-top form as he moves on throughout the brackets. And I also think he just showed how powerful Doom can really be on Deep Embrace. That was a masterclass, especially towards the end catch-up. Him just standing on the pillar next to Heavy, going for the double jumps, just so he could barely peek over onto the LG spawn, looking for those rails. That is brilliant amount of optimization, and that's a really scary player that we're now seeing in k1llsen.
The ability to quickly maneuver and create so many positions to rail straight off spawn, and we saw that in droves. Now we'll bring back DJ Wheat, mate. That was kind of rough.
The k1llsen show for sure, and you know, we are talking about like what kind of k1llsen are we going to get this stage finals, and obviously a very motivated, a very focused, and a out for blood k1llsen. One that I think we're all very excited to see continue on in this competition. And Flea, I was laughing and chuckling because I was thinking exactly the same thing. Like, this is the welcome match. You know, whaz has been in the QPL before, but absolutely anyone who makes it through the challengers, wins the relegation match, gets a nice little dose of what they could be experiencing. Hopefully it's motivating, because I agree. Like, you're facing k1llsen. His legacy, even in the QPL, the number of belts he's won, it's incredible. It's amazing. No one should feel bad to have a loss. In fact, I would look at that and be like, hey, I got some frags. All right, we can go up from here. This is great. Ooh. So
sorry,
there were some real beauties in that matchup. No, there were some beauties in that one catch-up. So congratulations to k1llsen. I mentioned earlier that k1llsen winning this means that he's going to be going up next versus Razy, and whew, I got to tell you, I'd like to see that match soon. Let's like to just fast forward to that match. That one's going to be great.
Yeah, we don't think we have to wait all that much longer. Of course, we have plenty of matches still in store today. Some highlights coming up. I think Rafa versus Avic is going to be a beautiful matchup. Xeniku versus Cypher is another one we've settled on as well. So, yeah, it's shaping up to be a great day once again, Wheat.
It is. And we're going to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to continue in our matchups here as we're moving on. And once again, we're going to be focusing on that round of 16. Then we get to move into those quarterfinal matches, and every single one of them is going to be a gem. So grab some food, a drink, take a bio break, whatever you need to do, because you're definitely going to want to be buckled down and holding on tight for the matches once we hit those quarterfinals. Thank you, Ketchup and Flea. We'll see you again soon. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's Wenger versus Sib. Don't go away.